Climate change isn't going to happen. It has happened and will continue to happen until a change is made. The temperature of the Earth has risen significantly since the 1900s, and with the rise in temperature came a myriad of downsides. Floods, droughts, damage due to storms, all have become more prevalent. But why? The simple answer is heat. Heat is the main fuel source of storms, so when the atmosphere is warmer, it means more powerful storms will occur. Heat isn't the only factor. It's also where the heat is located. Before climate change, warm, moist air was generally found closer to the equator, while drier, cold air was at the poles, and it was when this cold and hot air mixed that a storm would be created. Today, that isn't the case. Now the poles also have hot, humid air, which means less storms. Who wouldn't want less storms? People in California, that's who! The lack of storms means that there is far less rainfall. Instead, all the rain builds up until there is a huge storm, which causes a flood, while the lack of rain causes a drought. And although it is currently having an effect, it is just the beginning if we do not change. So what can we do to prevent these problems from getting worse? The obvious answer is by cutting greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases, you probably heard of them, but you might not know what they are and what they do. The two biggest man-made greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide and methane. Greenhouse gases go into the atmosphere and act as a huge greenhouse by trapping the sun's heat within the atmosphere. Now, how can we cut down on greenhouse gases? The first step is to limit CO2 output. Most people produce CO2 by driving, using electricity, and heating their homes. So how can these processes be optimized to limit damage to the earth? The first and fairly obvious one is don't drive a gas guzzler unless you haul lumber every day. Don't get a Chevy Silverado. Instead, try a Chevy Volt. Try biking to work. Try public transport, or even carpooling. By doing one of the following activities instead of driving, you can help to cut down on greenhouse gases. Now let's move on to your house, which produces more greenhouse gases than your car. The first thing you can do is don't waste electricity. Turn lights off when no one's in the room, and don't leave computers and TVs on when not in use. Try to get the most power-efficient appliances you can afford, including light bulbs, refrigerators, and microwaves. When it comes to heating, use it sparingly and try to make your house as insulated as possible so heat isn't lost. Shut doors and windows to keep heat in. These few tips can help limit CO2, and they can also help your wallet. Now on to methane. Methane comes from two main sources, cows and garbage. Cows produce methane when they burp and fart, which is often. So how can we solve this crisis? Simple. Stop eating so much beef and drinking so much milk. If the demand for cow products goes down, farmers will have no choice but to have less cows, which will thus reduce methane in the atmosphere. Meat in general is far less efficient than eating vegetables. To make a pound of beef, that cow has to eat a huge amount of grain, with 1 pound of beef using 4.67 pounds of corn. Now think about shipping that corn to the cattle farm, only to have the beef sent to its final destination, involving far more shipping. Now on to garbage. Garbage is usually sent to landfills, where it stays forever, and while it's there, a lot of garbage releases methane. So stop putting garbage in landfills. Instead, try to recycle everything possible. Make only as much food as you need. Save what you can't for later. Try composting any leftover food as well as yard waste. Buying in bulk can also help to reduce the waste due to packages. To add to this, try not to buy individually packaged goods. These are all things that we can do as individuals. But there's only so much one person alone can change. Real change comes when everyone comes together to make a difference. One of the ways to achieve this goal is through government. So I encourage all of you watching this video to contact your representatives and let them know you want change.